The perfect Poshmark sales system. So I have done a series of these videos: perfect Poshmark listing, perfect Poshmark processing process, perfect Poshmark item. I've done a few of these, so it's just fun. I just like saying perfect Poshmark whatever. I don't know that it's actually perfect, but hey, it works pretty well for me. So this is my perfect Poshmark sales system. And I realized after all the videos that I do, I don't think I've actually done one video where I say everything in one video. So this is going to be one of those videos where it's a lot. But I do have specific videos going into specific details basically of everything here. So I'm going to go over the high level of it, and then you can go, if there's something you want more information on, you just go to the video on my channel, just scroll down or search Rebecca the Reseller offer to likers video or whatever, and you'll be able to find more information about each specific thing. So I think that if you were to adopt all of these things, I am venturing to guarantee that you will make more sales. Everybody's situation is different, but I think that I have put together a comprehensive list of Poshmark sales generating strategies and activities that I have dialed in over the last 8 years, to where it's I don't think I can get any better. I think the only thing I could do is just list more items if I want to make more money. I don't think I could squeeze any more sales out of the work that I already have done. The only way to do it is to do more listings, and I just don't want to do that. So this is what will give you the most value out of your work. Download your free reseller resource guide today. I constantly update and share with you discounts, favorites, tools, and resources to help you with your reselling business. After the video, click the link in the description and get your totally free guide today. The first thing is items of value. Now, I did talk about this in the Perfect Poshmark item video, so I'm not going to go into it. But the idea of having items of value is what allows you to do all the rest of these things. Because if you're doing all the rest of these things on a tank top, how much are you going to make on that tank top, right? So you're going to do all this other work that I'm saying. And it's not like it's that much work, because a lot of it could be done with automation or helpers or whatever. But you want items of value in your store so that all these other sales generating activities will have a chance to make you significant money. If it's just on tank tops, it's probably not going to make you that much more money. So items of value. So the next one is having a pricing formula. And I'm kind of going in order in the way you would do these things. So you want to start with having items of value. And then as you are putting them into your store, as you're sourcing them and putting them in your closet, you want the pricing formula to be right. The pricing formula, I have a whole video on that. It depends on your buy cost and what you can list it for. So just to give you real quick, I like to buy items for $5 or $10 and list them for $50. That's my pricing formula, because I know based on all these other sales generating activities that we're going to talk about, I am going to do up to 50% off. So if I buy for 5 or 10 and I list for 50, but then I do 50% off, I sell for 25, the way that all shakes out, I know my worst case scenario is that I profit $8. I know all of that going into it. So before I even buy this item, if it doesn't fit that criteria of my pricing formula, I'm not buying it, because it can't fit in my model. If you don't have that, that is really, really helpful to have. It kind of sets the tone for everything else you do, and I'll get into why. So items of value, pricing formula, two most important things. Then the next thing I think is consistently, and I have a whole video on consistency, consistently list and relist with drafts in a listing hub like Vendu. And I have a discount code in my reseller resource guide for Vendu. You get 30% off. So consistently, which means regularly all the time, list and relist. So you should have a strategy for both. I list new items every day and I relist new items every day. Many days. Sometimes I'm just in relist mode and I'm not doing new listings. Sometimes, well, I guess no, I'm always, if I have new listings going up, I also have relists happening, both. But sometimes I don't do anything new and I only relist. That's during the holidays, during the summer, or if I just need time off. So those are my two petals. We're going to do petals because I'm doing this. So I'm consistently having some kind of listings going up. Either it's new and relist or it's just relist. And that's happening in my listing hub, which is Vendoo. It houses everything. So my virtual assistant will do this for me. But before, I used to do it myself. Yeah, I guess Vendoo came after. So I had my VA do it. She's been around longer than Vendoo. So yes, so we would do it in Poshmark before Vendoo. But putting the drafts in allows you to be consistent. And so if you batch work or however you work it out, if you have drafts in a hub, whether it's Vendoo or Poshmark drafts, you will then have the ability to be consistent because the drafts are there. So if on Monday I do, my week's worth of listings and all the drafts are in there, and then I get a headache on Wednesday, I don't have to worry about photographing when I have a headache because I already have the drafts there, and all I have to do is just click a button a few times and then I can go back to dealing with my headache. So consistency comes from being prepared and knowing what your expectation is. Having a set number of listings that you're going to put up every day or a set number of relists that you're going to put up every day helps with consistency. So you can't expect to get daily reliable sales if you're not consistently putting in new listings or relists. You just can't expect it. You can't expect your business to just do it for you. You have to do some of the work. You have to give it inputs. So consistently list and relist with drafts in a listing hub like Vendoo. The other part of that is the relisting. I love Vendoo because it's so much faster to do the relisting. So you could go click, 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 click and do them one off, one by one. Or you could just go click 10 and then it will do all 10 for you in like the bulk feature. So yes, 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 and yes, that is really good. The fourth one is automation. And Vendoo doesn't really count as automation in my book because there's so much of it that isn't automated, even though there are parts of it, like the bulk relist, like that's, I guess, kind of automated. I'm talking about Posture VA and like sharing tools and offer to likers tools. So whichever one you get, but I really recommend Posture VA. I've tested at least 4 or 5 now, and that's the one I keep saying is the best. It just is. Like there's just so much functionality to it, and it's so easy, and you can really set it and forget it. It is so worth the money that you pay for it. I think it's $29.99 a month, and I think I have mine set up where it like does 6 months or a year at once, but it's just so good. It's just so good. Like I just couldn't live without it. I used to pay people to share for me, like physical people. I would pay them to share for me, and so that used to cost me hundreds of dollars a month. And now I have a bot that does it, costs me a fraction of the price, and it generates all the sales, all of them. So yes, I believe you need automation in the perfect Poshmark sales system. The automation, the point is, one, to save you actual time. I'm not sharing the items myself. The bot is doing it. Thank you. But it's also allowing more productivity than a person ever could. Like I'm not going to share in the middle of the night. I'm sleeping. But the bot can share in the middle of the night for you. So shares are happening. You would have never been able to do those shares. So new shares are happening that you could have never done yourself, even if you were doing them yourself by hand, is what I'm trying to say. So you're getting more productivity out of it than a person ever could or would. So automation for sharing, automation for offer to likers. I have a sharing video about this. I have an offer to likers video about this. I have Posture VA how to set it up videos about this. So check all of that out because this is where the sausage gets made. This is how the sales happen. I couldn't live without it. So, and use 20% off code Rebecca the Reseller for your Posture VA if you don't have it. But so automation is crucial for those reasons. I want to make you aware of the hottest, the best deal I have ever offered in my Rebecca the Reseller Academy. To find it, all you have to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom and you will find this right here. Hot deal, best value, all courses and digital downloads for life. This is it, friends. This is as good as it's going to get. I'm giving you everything I have in my academy, all the digital downloads, all the courses for just $20. The best part is if I create a new digital download going forward, you will get it absolutely free. This is the time to lock in the best deal I have ever offered. All you have to do is go to Rebecca the Reseller Academy, scroll down to Hot Deal, and purchase it for $20. If you're wondering what comes in this, it's everything. So you're going to get all of my courses, and you're also going to get all of the digital downloads that I've created, including my keywords list, my listing forms, my Poshmark closet signs. Everything that I have created and everything that I ever will create will be yours for literally $20. Then the next one, which is part of that, is share up to the limit. So having automation deserves time in of itself to say this is part of the perfect Poshmark sales system. But how you utilize it is also part of the system. Because if you just have Posher VA and you have it share 3 to 5 times per day, you're not doing the perfect Poshmark sales system. You're leaving money on the table. So now we get into the nitty gritty of the automatic sharing up to the limit. If you have 1,000 items, you can share 9 times a day your whole closet. That's 9,000 shares. That's the max. That's how much Posher VA should be sharing for you. If you have 500 items, you can have it share 18 times a day. That's almost once an hour. If you have less than that, you can have it share every hour, every half an hour. You can set it and forget it, and it's glorious. So part of the perfect Poshmark sales system is sharing up to the limit. The next part is automatic offer to likers. So automatically you can have Posher VA set so that when someone likes your item, an offer goes out to them automatically for whatever. I have mine set at 20%. I have all videos on this. So no matter whether I'm at the baseball game for my son, sleeping, helping with the PTA at the school, taking photos, recording videos, like right now in this moment, somebody is liking an item. Oh, I just made a sale. Somebody is liking an item and Posher VA is sending it out. 10 minutes ago, I was recording this video and an offer went out. That wasn't the sale that happened. The sale that happened was from before. So it's like I'm doing this thing, but this thing is over here making sales for me. Like that is the perfect Poshmark sales system, is when I'm doing this thing and it's doing that thing making me sales. Next one is weekly progressive and aggressive offer to likers. This is very in-depth. I did a video on it recently because it changed. I had one offer to liker strategy and then I kind of upgraded it to a different offer to liker strategy. So I can't go over all of that. You need to check out that video. Just search Rebecca the Reseller offer to likers video, find the newest one, and that's the one. It is progressive and aggressive, which means that you get in front of your buyers multiple times with better and better offers. I believe at the core of cores, that is the way to make sales on Poshmark. Yes, sometimes in the middle of the night, someone goes in and buys something full price. Yes, sometimes somebody takes advantage of your bundle discount and they bundle 2 items and they buy it outright. Yes, those things happen, but they don't happen the bulk of the time. It's great when they do, but they don't happen the bulk of the time. Sometimes somebody sends an offer, you make a sale. Sometimes you send an offer and you make a sale. But sometimes you have to send an offer and then send an offer and then send an offer and then you make the sale. And so I believe in that type of strategy. And so having a weekly progressive and aggressive offer to likers strategy is the gold standard, in my opinion. I'm not the one that came up with this, in that I believe you should send lots of offers, like we've all been doing that. But I believe in the way that I say progressive and aggressive, those two together, and having that in a concentrated system on a weekly basis, I believe that is my contribution. If you've been around long enough to know like the 30-minute method, that was Lynn, I think. That was Lynn's contribution. Like she said, this is what you do, and we all followed it. This is my contribution. This is my perfect Poshmark sales system. I am you progressive and aggressive offer to likers in a concentrated time frame is what drives the bus here at Rebecca the Reseller, and my closet is on my rack. That's what does the sales. Can't say it enough. So the point is, if you are sending offers, great. Congratulations to you. If you're using Posher VA to send those offers for you, even more gold star to you. But if you're not doing progressive and aggressive offers the way I suggest or in some format or fashion of that, I believe you are leaving money on the table. It is not the perfect Poshmark process. I believe this is the way to go. I really do. Again, not a genius. Most of the time, I'm just an idiot. I always say, I'm like, this is one of those things where I don't know if I'm a genius or an idiot. If you watch my channel, you know I say that from time to time. I'm like, am I a genius or am I an idiot? Like, I can't tell. This is probably one of those times. Either I'm a genius or I'm an idiot for thinking that I came up with it, but it's important. Please do it. Okay, moving on. Dead horse. Beat it with like a dead horse. Weekly bulk price drops. This is new for me. I don't even know at this point in my head, because I've done so many videos, like, did I do a video on this or not? I'm not even sure. By the time you see this video, because I bulk record videos, I may have already done a video on this. I'm not sure. But bulk dropping the price is not new, because Poshmark wants you to do that for closet clear out, right? Like, they want you to drop it 10%, the historical value, and then they do the shipping discount, and voila. And that used to work really good, and I used to participate in that years ago. And then it just kind of became less effective. We didn't have any automation tools for it at the time, so we're physically doing it by hand, and it just seemed all so silly. So I went away from it because I was like, this isn't doing what I need it to do. I'd rather just make my own sales when I want to make sales, instead of when Poshmark says and every other Sheila is doing it. So I went away from closet clear out. Now you could do it, you cannot do it, I don't care. It's not really part of my strategy, because I've just kind of like adapted now to make my own strategies, and so I just kind of ignore it. But this is kind of along those lines. So you could take this strategy and plop it on a closet clear out day, and it might be even better, but I just don't pay attention to when that is. So what I mean is, you can take your Posher VA and you can set it up however you want with the criteria. It doesn't have to be on your whole closet. I do it on everything but boutique. So all my thrifted items. I set it to do a 10% drop on Thursdays every week. Now, every once in a while, I might be busy helping at the school or something on a Thursday, and so I get to it. So then we just skip that week. But most Thursdays, I'm doing it. I did it today. Today's a Thursday. So not for you. So I set it to go. I've already made, I think, 4 sales, and it might still be going. 3 sales I made so far. And the point is that if you're dropping the price and let it sit there at that price, and then you couple that with your progressive offer to liker strategy, you will get a new round of sales, because you will have reached a new low. So if I have an item listed at $50 and then I do my offers and it goes up to a 50% offer over the course of the thing, someone's getting a $25, price. But if I do the drop and it goes down to $45 and then I do the offer to likers, now it's going to go down to whatever 50% of 45 is, which is like what, 23? Yeah, $23. Now it's at 23, not at 25. And at that price, when it gets to that point, through all those strategies being lined up on top of each other, then a new bunch of sales happen. So you can't do that for forever, because then you'd be like, no sales. I can't have my items drop so low, because I do have this progressive and aggressive offers liker strategy. But what I did, because I have a pricing model, which we talked about earlier, I already know what everything falls into. So I know how low I can go and how all these offers and all of these automations layer on top of each other, because I know that my buy cost was $5 to $10 and I listed it for $50, and now I can figure everything else out. So when you add the price drop in on the weekly basis, you get a certain amount of weeks where it all will work out. Then at some point you have to cut it off and relist that item back at the full price. So it's kind of like you drop it till you get to your lowest, and then you relist it, which is on our list as well, to back to the beginning again, and you try it again. And so I know that that seems like a lot of work, but it actually isn't, because everything's automated. Now, I do have my virtual assistant that does a lot of this for me, so I've already instructed her, like, when an item goes below this price, which I think I have her set at $26, when it gets to 26, go relist that sucker. And so she does it on Saturday. So it has the chance to get dropped on Thursday. The offers go out on Friday. If it doesn't sell by Saturday, it's going to get relisted so that it goes back up to the top again. And then it can go down again from there. And then it goes back up again if nobody buys it. So it's kind of like, department store. They have sales and they don't have sales. They start at 20% off and then they go to 30% off and then they go to 50% off. That's like our offer to liker strategy, right? Our progressive and aggressive. But then sometimes they put an item on clearance and now it's even lower. And so now you can use your Kohl's Cash on top of it and this and that, and you get all these extra deals. It's kind of like that. Every sales generating activity that you layer on top of another one has the chance to push the item into a price point where someone's willing to snap on it. And that's what you want. So granted, I don't want to lose money on any items. I don't want you to either. But you also do have to think about, like, if you had this item for a long time, maybe you overpaid, and so you should just get your money back and move on into something else. I don't really have that situation because I'm not overpaying for my items, but I do have like a reasonable thought to say, hey, if this item has been with me for like 2 seasons, 2 years, 2 winters, and it still hasn't sold, I might have to just sell it. And whatever it sells for, it sells for. I've made profit all along the way, all those 2 years, so I'm not that worried about it now. And maybe that item just needs to get going out of here. So there's that too. And you may not be willing to get to that point. I am. You might not have to do that. But if all your numbers work, because you have a pricing formula, you have items of value, you have the offer to liker strategy, and now you add in the drops, now you are really getting into a situation where you've got all kinds of activity happening. And again, I've been doing this now several weeks, probably even a few months, and seen significant results with it. But even as you do it more and more, like the return dwindles a little bit because those big drops happened. People got all those offers from cumulative likes. And now less people are going to see that because items have gotten relisted. And so there's only maybe 5 people liking an item where before it was 35 people liking an item. So it gets a little bit less effective the longer you do it. But once you have it into your regular thing, like I don't think about it now. Now I just know on Thursday I set the thing to drop 10%. It takes me 2 minutes to set up and I'm out of here and I just go on about my business and record videos for you. So it was doing that work for me all along. It doesn't cost me any time. And I made 3 sales already from that. So yeah. Posher VA is a tax-deductible business investment that pays for itself many times over each month. It increases Poshmark sales because it shares and sends offers more than I ever could manually. It handles all my shares, automatic offer to likers, bulk offers, and it can do price drops and relists. When my coaching clients add Posher VA, it makes more sales basically immediately. The best part is that you get your time back. More time with family, thrifting, whatever. Get 20% off with code Rebecca the Reseller and the link below. So that's weekly bulk price drops. We have 5 more things to go. Can you believe this is it? This is the perfect Poshmark sales strategy. This is how you're going to make money. So weekly bulk price drops. Next is weekly relist, what falls below the price threshold. Okay, so I already said that. So I just said that. So when it gets below your price threshold, I have my VA do it. You go in and do it. If you don't have a VA, if it hits $26, boom, it gets relisted back up to $50. If yours is different, you don't want to go as low as $26. Maybe you list your item at $50 and you only want it to go to $30. Fine. When it hits $30, relist it. Maybe you only want this to go for 3 weeks. So you list it at $50. It's going to get price dropped to $45, then $40, and then I think it goes to $36. I spit again. It's like a record. Maybe you relist it at $36. Maybe you don't want to go as low as I do. That's okay. But make sure before you go doing all this that you work out all the numbers ahead of time so that you don't end up in an oopsie situation. I would hate that. Okay, next one is quarterly My Shoppers. So I have 2 videos on this on my channel. One is what to do, one is what not to do. I think both of them are good information to have. I do it quarterly and I try to sync it with like a shopping-ish time. So like everybody wants to shop around Black Friday, so I do one around then. I do one around like Mother's Day, like kind of like a treat yourself kind of thing. So you got to just figure out when you want to do it. You might want to not do it during that time and do it a different time. I've experimented with that too. So you can do that My Shoppers Quarterly thing. That's a whole set of systems and stuff that I go over in those videos. And that usually does $300 to $800 in sales, depending on when I do it and, kind of what's going on with the closet at the time. Do I have a lot of sales? Did I just do a big sale? Like what's going on? But it's a regular part of my business. I do it 4 times a year. I think you could do it as many as 6 times a year, but I don't think you should do it more than that. And that is another way to get people, because you're utilizing the comment, you're utilizing the bundle likes thing, and the offer to likers. So you've got all of those strategies going on, which are different than what you do on a weekly basis with offer to likers. Now all of a sudden you're adding likes to bundle, then you're sending an offer, and you're doing a comment. So when you add all those up, it's another way to get in front of your buyer that generates sales. So then I have a periodic thing, periodic random price drops or pulls. So what does that mean? That means usually for me, before the end of the school year, or maybe right when we go back to school, or right before the holidays and kind of year end is usually when I do this, is I'll just go through my closet and I'll say, okay, fur vest that I've had for forever that I refuse to get rid of, I'm going to drop your price because I had you up at $2.99 or whatever and nobody wanted to buy you at $2.99, and then I put you at $1.99. Like now I don't even know what I have it up for, but it might be time to drop the fur vest. And so I'll drop that price significantly, like a big drop, because it just wasn't happening at $2.99. So if I do a big drop on it and then all of these sales generating activities go through, it's going to trigger people, because all of a sudden $99, 50% off, when that offer hits, that's a ridiculous deal. And so is it going to sell? Is it not going to sell? I don't know. But if it doesn't sell during that crazy drop, if it's not going to sell for $40 or whatever, then maybe it's time to pull this item. Now, I don't think you can send fur to ThredUp, so that's not going to go to ThredUp. I could maybe take it to a buy sell trade store, but I don't know if they take fur either. So I could just be shit out of luck on that one. We'll just have to see. But that's one that is in my mind because I've had that thing for so long. And I think it might be like 4 years now that I've had this fur vest and it has not sold. So, sometimes it just doesn't work out. And so you can either significantly drop the price to trigger that sale and to influence that sale, or you can determine to pull it out and do something else with it. So I do that periodically, a couple times a year. And I do think that that's part of your perfect Poshmark sales process, because you need to make room for new things. You need to be aggressive sometimes and say like, okay, I invested $10. I don't even think I paid $10 for it. I think I paid like $3 or $4 because I got it in a bulk box. So I only paid $3 or $4 for it. And so if I sell it for $40, even though I think that's nuts because it's a fur mink vest, like if it sells for $40, then it sells for $40. I made my profit, but I wanted to get more money. I thought it should have more value to it, but whatever. So this is why it's part of the process, because there are those items like that one that comes to mind. I'm sure I have a few others. There's actually one striped cashmere sweater where I'm like, I've literally sold hundreds of cashmere sweaters. Why is this one stupid cashmere sweater not selling? Like this one, I've sold ones older than it, newer than it, uglier than it, in less good condition, less brand, like everything. And this one stupid one is still sitting there, and that annoys me too. So I might have to drop that one down to $20 just to get rid of it. And again, I probably paid $6 or $8 for it. So it wouldn't be the worst thing if I did. So, it's like, there are just some of those items where you just have to take drastic measures to get it to sell. And that's part of your perfect system, because you're getting it to sell. You're doing the right things. Even Target says, oh, those stupid things didn't sell. We're going to put them on clearance. Like, you just got to do it, right? Like, you just got to get rid of those items. You can't sit on it for forever. So that's part of your system. Periodic also, bundle and send offers. So this is a My Shoppers thing, but it's different and extra from the regular My Shopper strategy that I do. So when I go over it in those 2 videos that you're going to check out, it goes through one system that I do every quarter. This is different, and I'll do it periodically. I'll just kind of throw it in from time to time. Like, if I'm at a certain number of sales and I really want to hit a certain number, I might throw it in at the end of the month just to see if I can make that number, or if I'm lacking behind in sales for whatever reason, I want to kind of like give myself a bump in sales, or I know that I'm going to be getting a pallet in, and so I want to clear out a bunch of stuff, towards the end of the year before I do inventory or before a new pallet comes. So there's just times where I want to throw it in, and I don't overdo it. I throw it in periodically, and it's through My Shoppers, and it's basically not sending the comment, which is part of the other strategy, but it's just going in and clicking bundle all the likes, and then send an offer, whatever you decide on the bundle. And I do that because it's just something different that I don't normally do that might get some sales. And I have it set up through My Shoppers on this remote computer over here, and so it doesn't cost me any time. So I just throw it in from time to time and see if it gets me any extra sales. So that's kind of like a little bonus. And then the last thing that's part of my perfect Poshmark sales strategy is annually pulling items for clearance. And so I have done a couple of videos on what to do with stale inventory and how to clearance items. And so my goal always is to clearance an item where it was intended. So I intended to sell that fur vest on Poshmark. So by golly, I'm going to do everything I can over 4 years to sell that gosh darn thing on Poshmark. But at some point you have to decide, you have to call it, you have to know when to fold them, you pull it out and you sell it elsewhere. But all of these, the whole point of the perfect Poshmark sales strategy is to sell the items where I intended to sell them, which is on Poshmark. And for you, if you add Mercari, etc., eBay, whatever, online. The goal is to sell it online. I took photos of it, I stored it, I packed it up. I intended to sell this item online. It's not like when I get a pallet and I purposely sort out certain items that I don't want to sell online to go to the buy, sell, trade store. I purposely took that item over here and I didn't list it online so that I could sell it at the buy, sell, trade store. That's offline. The ones that I kept for online, I want to sell online because that's the work that I did. If I pull it out, now it's more work. Now I have to unbag it. I have to put the thank you card away. I have to unfold the item. I have to decide what I'm going to do with the item. Am I taking it to buy, sell, trade store? I have to put it in a bin. I have to lug it there. I have to drive there. I have to wait for them to go through the items. Maybe they buy it. Maybe they don't. So it's a lot of work to clearance an item offline than it is to clearance an item online. I'd rather do bulk strategies online and get it to sell first that way. Then if I have to do the other thing, I will. So like with the fur vest, if I've gotten to the point where, what's that? There's that movie, The Mexican, with Julia Roberts and James Gandolfini. James Gandolfini and Brad Pitt. And it's like, they say, well, when do you get to that point when enough is enough? When enough is enough of loving this person? And then whoever says, and they go, well, never, because you love them, right? But I don't love this fur vest. I don't love the fur vest. I want to get rid of the fur vest. I want to sell the fur vest. So I don't love it. Enough is enough with the fur vest. And so I'm going to probably take it out of my closet and I'm going to send it to ThreadUp if I can, or I'm going to bring it to a buy, sell, trade store. At this point, I might just donate it to Goodwill. Maybe I'll put it on like Facebook Marketplace, just like a random listing, not like an online one, but just like, hey, and like the local group and be like, does anybody want this? Just to get rid of it. But yes, so the last part of the perfect Poshmark sales system is to annually go through and pull items to clearance offline. And I have the rest of those strategies in my stale inventory video. So then you can do all of the offline things to get some kind of money back for the items that didn't work. But give it all of these things that we talked about today in the perfect plan, give all of those things first so that you can sell it that way with the least amount of effort being put back into it and hopefully making the most amount of money. When you pull it offline, most of the time you're going to make less money and you're going to have to do extra work to sell it. So guys, this was like intense. Like it was intense for me to do this video because I don't think I've ever really summed up all of these things in one video, and for you watching it, it might be a lot. You don't have to do all of these things all at once. But this is everything I do. I do all of these things. There's not one thing here that I've told you to do that I don't do myself. I do everything here. That is what makes the money. That's how I get to be a full-time reseller. That's how I make the money I make. And so I'm just saying to you, you may not be willing to do all of these things, but this is what I believe it takes to make full-time money on Poshmark. This is what I think it takes to make a significant amount of part-time money on Poshmark. This is what it takes. Now, if you don't do all these things, but let's say you list more items than me, you probably could get there just because you're doing more listing work. But I'd rather do less listings and more of these works. Most of these things, even though it sounds like a lot, I'm not actually doing them. Most of this is automated, and the stuff that's not automated, my VA does. So most of this stuff I'm not actually doing. That's how I get to make videos, because otherwise I'd have no time to make videos. So I really want you guys to succeed. I want you to make more sales, but I also want to share with you, like, I go through lengths to make money here. And so if you are not making the kind of money that you want to make, do some of this stuff and then come talk to me and let me know how it goes, because I believe you will make more money if you do it. That is all. My head hurts now. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.